Josie Duggar and the seldom-seen sisters Johanna and Jennifer make a comeback in Snap, and fans are astonished at how adult teens appear. Even years after the end of 19 Kids and Counting, the Duggar family, known for their large household and presence on reality TV, continues to garner attention. A recent social media photo of Josie Duggar with her infrequently seen sisters Johanna and Jennifer has sparked renewed interest in the family. The young Duggar girls' growth has left fans and family members in awe, especially considering that many of them have kept a low profile in recent years. In December 2009, Josie Duggar, the youngest of Jim, Bob and Michelle Duggar's 19 children, was born too soon. On the family's last reality show, her early arrival and ensuing health issues were detailed. Josie has developed into a healthy and energetic adolescent despite the difficulties she encountered as a baby. Because of the unusual circumstances surrounding her birth and development, she remains one of the most observed members of the Duggar family at the age of 15. In October 2005, Johanna Duggar, the 16th child, was born. During the family's television years, Johanna was well known for her lively and vivacious attitude, but she has mostly avoided the spotlight lately. Johanna has not kept up a substantial public presence, in contrast to her older sisters who have started their own families or resorted to social media. Fans are still interested in her growth, interests and pastimes nevertheless. August 2007 saw the birth of Jennifer Duggar, the 17th child. She was frequently spotted socializing with her siblings at the family's spacious Arkansas house during the early days of television, just like Johanna. Jennifer has generally avoided the spotlight after the conclusion of the family's shows. This has just increased the curiosity whenever pictures of her appear online. Josie, Johanna, and Jennifer were all seen grinning together in a recent internet snapshot, demonstrating the three daughters' significant growth over the years. The picture immediately became popular on social media. Fans praised their youthful confidence, evolving looks, and the obvious passage of time since their last frequent broadcast appearance. Thousands of people commented and liked the picture, with many followers saying they couldn't believe how quickly the girls had grown up. In contrast to the modest apparel the Duggar family was formerly renowned for, many observers remarked that their fashion choices were more modern. Even if their wardrobe selections were still in line with conventional norms, the change in fashion represented larger cultural shifts within the family, and may have represented a generational divide in the younger Duggar siblings' approaches to self-expression. Jim, Bob and Michelle Duggar have always had conservative opinions about relationships, social engagement, and modesty. Throughout the years of their television celebrity, these ideals influenced the atmosphere in the home. Some of the younger Duggar children, including those who are still living at home, seem to be following somewhat different trajectories than their elder siblings, though. Both admirers and detractors have conjectured about how parenting and family dynamics have changed in the Duggar household as a result of this change. The Duggar family maintained a rigid set of living norms based on their understanding of Christian values for many years. These included dress restrictions, courting rules for dating, and regimented teaching methods like homeschooling. Millions of people watched the original TLC series, 19 Kids and Counting, which promoted these values. A vast array of personal preferences has emerged as the kids have become older, and some have turned away from those guidelines. For the most part, Josie, Johanna, and Jennifer have avoided the contentious parts of public discussions about the elder Duggar siblings. In recent years, a number of their adult siblings have garnered media attention for a range of reasons, from private disclosures to legal troubles. In addition to drawing attention to the family's history, these events have highlighted the younger Duggar girls' scant participation in public life. There is a generational change in the way the younger kids are developing, according to observers who have observed the Duggars since their infancy. The younger girls may have other alternatives than the older Duggar daughters, such as Jana, Jill, Jessa, Jinger and Johanna, who followed a very clear structure that included early marriage, childbirth, and Christian service. The image of Jennifer, Johanna, and Josie only heightened interest in whether these younger siblings will have comparable life paths. One important aspect of Duggar life is still education. There have been indications of changing educational methods in recent years, even though the majority of the Duggar children were homeschooled. Whether Johanna, Jennifer, or Josie intend to continue their studies or find employment outside the family home is yet unknown. Details about their academic accomplishments are mostly kept inside the family, due to their comparatively private lives, and the lack of social media accounts linked to them. There is no longer a reality television program that features the Duggar family in the public eye. Following Josh Duggar's legal troubles, Counting On was terminated in 2021, and the whole family stopped producing regular television shows. Since then, fans have relied on infrequent appearances and social media updates to keep up with the whereabouts of the Duggar children, including those who are still living at home. The matriarch of the family, Michelle Duggar, has periodically posted pictures and blog entries with family updates. Bob Duggar, a well-known personality in Arkansas conservative circles, has likewise been less visible in public. Even though the family has been embroiled in scandals recently, Bob and Michelle are still seen as role models for the younger kids who live with them. Public responses make it evident that many former viewers of the show are still emotionally invested in the Duggar children's life. In addition to evoking sentimental reactions, the recent reappearance of Josie, Johanna, and Jennifer sparked a newfound curiosity about what the future might hold for the newest Duggars. Social media users complimented the girls' maturity and commented on how natural they looked. While some admirers emphasized their uniqueness, others drew attention to facial resemblances to elder siblings. They also talked about their ideals, possible future occupations, and if they would follow the family's core principles or go their own way. Some of the Duggar siblings have gone in different directions over time. For example, Jinger Duggar Vuolo moved to Los Angeles and has publicly discussed rethinking many of her upbringing's ideas. Jill Duggar Dillard has also expressed disapproval of several elements of her childhood. These opinions have affected how the family is perceived by the general public and could affect how fans view the younger children's growth. Many fans have grown more circumspect in their criticism due to the increased scrutiny that the Duggar name now carries. However, the atmosphere around Josie, Johanna, and Jennifer has mostly been upbeat, with admirers wishing them well, happiness, and development along their chosen trajectories. These young people go through critical developmental transitions, which should be acknowledged. Adolescence is a period of self-discovery, introspection, and planning for the future. Josie, Johanna, and Jennifer, in contrast to their older siblings, are growing up in a time when the family does not have the security of a production crew or a stable public relations framework. More freedom might result from this, but there are also new difficulties. The image that sparked the public's interest represents a turning moment rather than merely growing up. Once in the background, frequently carried or led by older siblings, the Duggar youngsters are now entering their adolescent years as unique individuals. The dynamics of the household have probably changed a lot as their older siblings are largely married, have moved out, or are following their own paths. There are still concerns about whether the younger girls will use social media as a platform for self-expression as they get older, whether they will be featured in any upcoming documentaries, books, or interviews, and whether they will follow in the footsteps of their older sisters by getting into relationships early or choosing different paths. None of the three currently have active public social media profiles under their own names, and there are no signs that any plans for public-facing platforms are in the works. Supporters hypothesize that this might be because Bob and Michelle intentionally choose to reduce their youngest children's digital footprints, or because the family takes a traditional approach to internet exposure. The public's strong interest in the Duggar children, even those who have chosen to stay anonymous, is evident despite the ambiguities. This illustrates the family's enduring influence on American television viewers, and the emotional bond that many viewers maintain years after the show's end. Even though the most recent image just provided a fleeting look into Josie, Johanna, and Jennifer's life today, it spoke a great deal about the continued interest in and love for the Duggar kids. Regardless of how visible individuals want to be, the public is likely to continue to be interested in their tales as they continue to develop and make decisions about their personal lives, occupations, and beliefs. No formal announcements regarding any of the younger Duggar girls taking part in upcoming media projects or starting their own personal projects have been made as of yet. Fans will continue to watch from a distance, providing support and conjecture, regardless of whether they choose to live more privately or disclose more of their lives to the public. In conclusion, fans have been reminded of the Duggar family's development and the passing of time by the reappearance of Josie, Johanna, and Jennifer Duggar in a recent snapshot. Despite the fact that this huge household's public and private life have undergone significant upheaval, the interest in the kids, particularly those growing. Michelle Duggar and Jim Bob now have more grandchildren than children. In American reality television, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, who were stars of the once popular TLC reality show 19 Kids and Counting, have long represented big families and traditional Christian values. Due in large part to their exceptional family size and their involvement in a show that chronicled their everyday life, parenting, values, and family dynamics, the family gained national attention in the middle of the 2000s. The Duggar family has experienced a generational change as their children have grown up and starting their own households. In addition to being the parents of 19 children, Jim Bob and Michelle now have almost 30 grandkids, which is more than the number of children they reared. With this shift, the Duggar family's history enters a new phase. The present situation of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar will be examined in this script, with particular attention paid to their expanding family, their connection with their extended family, the career choices made by their adult children, and the ongoing evolution of the Duggar legacy in 2025. The script is completely objective, factual, and devoid of any dramatization or narrative passages. There are 19 biological children between Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar: Joshua, Jana, John David, Jill, Jessa, Jinger, Joseph, Josiah, Joanna, Jedediah, Jeremiah, Jason, James, Justin, Jackson, Johanna, Jennifer, Jordan, Grace, and Josie are their names, listed in order of birth. Most of these children are adults by 2025, and many of them are married and have their own kids. The Duggar family tree keeps growing every year, with several of the sons and daughters now having several offspring. In keeping with the family's customs, the Duggar offspring typically get married early and have children soon after. The number of grandchildren has increased dramatically as a result of this. According to some forecasts, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar will have more than 30 grandkids by the middle of 2025, and the number may shortly surpass 35. This represents a major generational milestone in their family, as they now formally have more grandchildren than children. Several of the Duggar children have given birth to grandkids, including, according to the most recent official data, Josh and Anna Duggar are parents to 7 children. Derek and Jill Dillard are parents of 3 kids. Ben and Jessa Seewald are parents to 5 kids. The Vuolos, Jinger and Jeremy, have 2 daughters. According to reports, Joseph and Kendra Duggar are parents to 3 kids. Lauren and Josiah Duggar, they are parents to at least 1 kid. Austin and Joanna Forsyth are parents of 3 kids. Katey and Jedediah Duggar are parents to 2 kids. Hannah and Jeremiah Duggar, they are parents to a single child. Justin Duggar, it is anticipated that he and his spouse will be growing their family, or have already done so. As more Duggar offspring marry and become parents, the number of grandchildren born has increased. According to the family's ingrained views on raising children and family size, the number of grandchildren could increase dramatically over the course of the next 10 years. The role of Michelle Duggar and Jim Bob as grandparents. After raising a big family as active parents, Jim Bob and Michelle are now more conventional grandparents. Even though they don't have any children at home anymore, maybe with the exception of those in their late teens, they still participate actively in family events, holidays, and get-togethers. They are still present in birthday parties, holiday celebrations, and group family portraits. The extended family still gathers at their Arkansas home. The property continues to host several family events, and is a well-known spot for grandchildren to visit and spend time with their grandparents. Even though she is no longer the primary caregiver, Michelle is frequently spotted interacting with her younger grandkids at family gatherings, and her kids say she is actively involved in each grandchild's early growth. Jim Bob is still active in a number of family endeavors, and is said to like spending time with his increasing number of grandchildren. Their kids and grandkids are still influenced by Jim Bob and Michelle's devout Christian beliefs. Their views, which are founded on an understanding of evangelical Christianity that frequently coincides with the Institute in Basic Life Principles, place a strong emphasis on homeschooling, big families, and traditional gender roles. Some of their children have started to reevaluate their own personal beliefs and boundaries, while others have opted to follow similar routes in terms of faith, lifestyle, and family size. Some of the Duggar kids now view family life, education, and religion in more contemporary ways. Jim, Bob, and Michelle's outlook hasn't changed in spite of this generational change. They still advocate for family unity, biblical teaching, and faith-based parenting. Even though they respect the boundaries of each child's own home, these principles continue to influence their interactions with their grandchildren. The Duggar family has received different media coverage after the conclusion of 19 Kids and Counting on. The public perception of the family has been affected by a number of incidents, notably the legal troubles involving Josh Duggar. The public's fascination in the Duggars is unaffected by this. Updates on the increasing number of Duggar grandchildren, family news, and significant events are still followed by both fans and detractors. Posts on social media by different family members frequently garner a lot of attention, particularly when they discuss parenting choices, births, or pregnancy. Despite not being very active on social media, Jim, Bob, and Michelle occasionally show up through posts made by their kids. They have decided to keep a more quiet lifestyle focused on family, and have made less public pronouncements in recent years, particularly in the wake of the family-related controversies. The Duggar kids aren't a single entity anymore. They have chosen various places, lives, and belief systems as adults. Their children's upbringing and environment have been impacted by this diversification. Some have publicly discussed reassessing their upbringing and making their own decisions for their families, including Jed Duggar, Dillard, and Jinger Duggar Vuolo. Others, such as Jessa and Johanna, seem to still adhere strongly to the customs and values that their parents taught them. Because of these lifestyle differences, the grandchildren are growing up in a variety of settings. Some are growing up in more moderate or metropolitan environments, like Los Angeles, where Jinger and Jeremy live, while others are homeschooled in conservative Christian homes. Jim, Bob, and Michelle Duggar are at the start of a lifelong legacy as their grandchildren begin to outnumber their children. The second generation of Duggar parenting is well underway, with some of their older grandchildren now approaching school age. Given the Duggar pattern of early marriage and childbearing, it is not implausible that great-grandchildren will be born within the next 10 to 15 years. A new generational cycle may begin in the upcoming 10 years, with Jim, Bob, and Michelle becoming great-grandparents. The decisions made by their adult children and grandchildren will have a significant impact on how this next stage plays out, as younger generations form their own interpretations of the values that have been passed down to them. The changing family structure may witness fresh cultural and spiritual changes. On national television, Jim, Bob, and Michelle Duggar's family structure and values have influenced American pop culture, regardless of popular opinion. Their influence will be influenced by the number of their descendants as well as how those descendants uphold, or redefine, their ideals as their legacy continues into a second generation. Their present way of life seems to be centered on family, religion, and introspection. Their home has evolved from one of active parenting to one of generational support, with over 30 grandchildren and counting. They continue to be significant members of their family, offering presence, direction, and historical continuity. The grandchildren's names will always be associated with the Duggar heritage, regardless of whether they choose to live more secluded lives or stay in the spotlight. By 2025, Jim, Bob, and Michelle Duggar have formally moved from being the famous parents of 19 children to grandparents of a second generation that is expanding and changing. They have now outnumbered the number of children they reared in their own home, with more than 30 grandchildren, and more on the way. In addition to marking the continuation of their family's tradition, this milestone also ushers in a new period in which their adult offspring are raising families in a variety of contexts and methods. The future of the Duggar name and its cultural presence is now mostly in the hands of their children and grandchildren, even if their principles and influence are still felt in some segments of the extended family. From multi-generational development to reality TV celebrity, Jim, Bob, and Michelle Duggar's family story is still evolving in a modest, private, and far more expanded way than it was at the start.